Platoon, Mikhail Gorbachev, and Bill Clinton are all on this day. Welcome back to On This Day. Today's date is December 19th, 2022. It is the 353rd day of the year. You got 12 days left. It is the 51st Monday in the 51st week and the 89th day of fall. 2 days left until winter. Today is Look for an Evergreen Day. Every year, one thing remains the same around the holidays. People everywhere have decided at what point before the big day they're going to go out and hunt for a Christmas tree. Look for an Evergreen Day is about the last opportunity you have if you haven't already gotten your Christmas tree. Interesting fact about Christmas trees, growing up in Southern California, back 2010 or something like that, if you wanted a decent Christmas tree, it was going to be about $100. Southern California, they got to transport them down there from probably Oregon. I get up to Oregon and I was getting better trees for like $15. But yeah, if you don't have your Christmas tree up yet and you haven't got it, you better get out and get one if that's your thing. If not, happy Hanukkah or whatever else could be out there. All right, let's see what else December 19th has given us. 1606, the ship Susan Constant, Godspeed, and Discovery depart England carrying settlers who founded Jamestown, Virginia, the first of the 13 colonies that became the United States. 1777, the American Revolutionary War. George Washington's Continental Army goes into winter quarters at Valley Forge, Pennsylvania. So when I was a kid, one of those Schoolhouse Rock cartoons or whatever talked about history, and they brought up Valley Forge, and it showed, the cartoon of all the soldiers shivering in Valley Forge, because that was one of the biggest problems they had there was the cold. Well, while they're talking about it, a nice cream truck starts driving through the Continental Army, who a lot of them were freezing to death, and how different cartoons are today, but they started shooting at the ice cream truck. You wouldn't be able to do that in Saturday morning cartoons these days. Hey, wait, do they have Saturday morning cartoons anymore? 1828, Vice President of the United States John C. Calhoun sparks the nullification crisis when he anonymously publishes the South Carolina Exposition and protesting the tariff of 1828. We talked about that before, and I'd love to go over it again, but we just talked about it like a month ago. In case you missed that one, basically the nullification crisis was the United States put in tariffs against different countries to help out businesses here in the United States. Well, a lot of the states that didn't have those protected industries that the United States was trying to protect, they basically said, we're not going to charge you tariffs, head on down to South Carolina, head on down to North Carolina, wherever it could be. But yeah, that created a problem because we weren't unified. 1900, French Parliament votes amnesty for all involved in the scandalous army treason trial known as the Dreyfus Affair. 1974, Nelson Rockefeller is sworn in as Vice President of the United States under President Gerald Ford under the provisions of the 25th Amendment to the United States Constitution. 1986, Mikhail Gorbachev, leader of the Soviet Union, releases Andrei Sakharov and his wife from exile in Gorky. 1998, President Bill Clinton is impeached by the United States House of Representatives, becoming the second president in United States history to be impeached. Since then, Donald Trump has been impeached twice. Now, what's interesting about the impeachment process is it's really bad for the United States. Sadly, I think in the political climate we have right now, we're going to see it a lot more. I think that's just the new process of trying to make the other side look bad. And here's the problem with it. Congress votes to impeach a president for whatever reason. They've, done their research supposedly, and they've decided that they're going to impeach him. Now, after they've impeached him, once you're impeached, you're impeached. That's all there is to it. That's almost like the court case. Okay. And so the impeachment process is supposed to be like they do the investigation, they plead their case, and then the jury decides they're guilty. So you're impeached if the jury decides you're guilty. Well, then it goes to the Senate, and the Senate is almost like the judge. The Senate takes it and goes, okay, he's been impeached, but should we remove him from office? And in Donald Trump and Bill Clinton's case, it was the judge, or the Senate in this case, said, you know what? No, we're not going to remove him from office. It's just like a judge. Let's say you get convicted of something. He goes, no, you're convicted, but I think we're just going to give you probation. That's kind of what happened in both the cases. I think in a lot of ways it's political posturing and maneuvering, and I get it. There's a lot at stake these days for the political parties, and they're going to do whatever they can to stay in power or to gain power. This is both sides. This isn't exclusive to any one side of the political spectrum, but I fear it's our new normal. Now, what we hope isn't the new normal is they actually remove a president from office. That does nothing good for the United States. And I think more than anything else, that is something we really need to worry about as a country. If we can't be seen as a stable government, we're going to lose a lot of credibility on the world stage. I think in the end, we all have to remember we're all in this together. Movies released on December 19th, 1986, Platoon. This is a classic Oliver Stone war movie about the Vietnam War. The film won 4 Academy Awards, including Best Picture and Best Director. It starred Johnny Depp, Charlie Sheen, William Dafoe, Forrest Whitaker, Keith David, Tony Todd, John C. McGinley, Kevin Dillon, Tom Berenger, Mark Moses, and Francesco Quinn. Sad thing about him, he was born in 1963, died in 2011. He was only 48 years old. He was living in Malibu and he had 2 twin sons, and he was running up the street with them and died of a heart attack. But he played the character Raj in Platoon. If you think back to Platoon, if you saw it, he's the guy, looked Hispanic, but he had a gravelly voice. That was his first role, and that was probably his biggest role. He stayed active and he kept working from 1986 till his death in 2011, but that was the biggest thing he'd done. But that being said, Platoon is one of the best movies about Vietnam. It probably is the best movie about the Vietnam War. Full Metal Jacket was pretty good. A handful of other ones were decent, but a majority of the movies that ever came out about the Vietnam War were low budget and poorly made in most cases. This is definitely a good one. If you've never seen it, it is a little graphic, it's a little gripping, it's a little upsetting, but it's an entertaining movie. Born on December 19th, 1972, Alyssa Milano. She rose to fame as a teen actress on Who's the Boss? She was also in the TV show Charmed. She was on a great movie called Fear with Mark Wahlberg and Reese Witherspoon. She starred in a new series on Netflix called Insatiable in 2018. She began acting at age 8 after landing a role on the national tour of Annie, where she was selected out of 1,500 girls that tried out for the part. She was also on Melrose Place. She married CAA agent David Bugliari. In 2009, the couple had a son named Milo and a daughter named Elizabella. I met her one time, briefly. I was working in a high-rise in Hollywood, right off of Sunset, and they had a fire alarm go off, and everyone had to come downstairs into the parking lot. She happened to live there. I wasn't working in her place. I was working a couple floors above, but talked to her briefly. She was nice enough. Died on December 19th, 1993, Michael Clark, drummer for the 1960s folk rock band The Byrds, during the height of their popularity from 1964 to 1967. He was supposedly discovered by David Crosby playing bongos on the beach. He had little formal musical training and none on the drums. He grew distant from the group in 1967 over creative differences and was soon fired from The Byrds. He was also in the Flying Burrito Brothers in the late 60s, early 70s. By the late 1980s, Clark's health had been on a serious decline, a lot of hard years of drinking. He died of liver failure at the age of 47 at his Treasure Island, Florida condominium on December 19th, 1993. All right, that's today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Now go out, have a great day, and be nice to each other.